Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. A few years back, Genndy Tartakovsky and Craig McCracken both signed new deals to return to Cartoon Network Studios, and in the case of Genndy, he also signed a joint deal with Warner Brothers Animation. And since Genndy has come back to Cartoon Network, really the only series, or the only couple of shows I should say, that he's been working on since rejoining the network is obviously his hit Adult Swim series Primal, which he was actually working on before this new contract, and also Unicorn Warriors Eternal. But other than those two series, there's been no indication as to what other shows that Genndy could possibly be working on over at Cartoon Network Studios, and I highly doubt that those are the only two series that he's currently working on. He definitely has some other stuff cooking in the kitchen that we just don't know about. Hopefully, fingers crossed, a Symbiotic Titan Season 2, because I know that's something that us the fans want to see, and that's something that Genndy's publicly said that he's been wanting to do, so fingers crossed that happens at some point. But something that I've been thinking about is when we think about what's going on with Genndy Tartakovsky right now, and the fact that Unicorn Warriors Eternal doesn't have a second season, it hasn't been greenlit yet. Maybe it has been behind the scenes and they just haven't formally announced it, but all indications right now is that show is not getting another season until we hear otherwise. And given that he's working on Primal Season 3, and given that we're waiting to hear what's going on with the next Ben 10, I started to think of a hypothetical situation that I think, quite frankly, everyone would be happy about, and I think everybody will welcome this with open arms. What if Genndy Tartakovsky is currently developing the 6th iteration of Ben 10? I feel like this would be a series, first and foremost, obviously the 6th iteration of Ben 10 is highly anticipated amongst Ben 10 fans around the world. I said this in countless videos, but Ben 10 fans are getting anxious waiting for the next series. People want to hear what's going to be next in the world of Ben 10, and what if Genndy Tartakovsky is what's next? What if Genndy Tartakovsky either A, takes Ben 10 and makes a 5th iteration in the classic continuity, or what I think would be more likely in this scenario, if Genndy Tartakovsky takes Ben 10 and does his own unique take on the series. I feel like this would be a hit for a multitude of reasons. Genndy is regarded as one of the best animators of his generation. Obviously, he's had countless hits like Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Symbiotic Titan, even though Cartoon Network wants to pretend that wasn't a hit. He's also done stuff like Hotel Transylvania at Sony. He's worked on Primal on Adult Swim, more recently Unicorn Warriors Eternal. He's worked on a lot of series. I forgot Star Wars The 2D Clone Wars. A lot of series that are all well regarded and all have high acclaim attached to them. What if he went to the biggest franchise that Cartoon Network's ever created? What if he works on the next Ben 10? I feel like that would be a marriage that would work so well. I feel like Genndy's unique perspective and the style that he takes with each and every one of his shows would fit the world of Ben 10 rather well. We've seen what he's done with action shows before, such as Symbiotic Titan. You could say for Samurai Jack as well, especially with Season 5, it was much more plot heavy than the first 4 seasons of Samurai Jack. Same thing with Unicorn Warriors Eternal. What if he does something like that, but within the world of Ben 10? Of course, I said this could take two forms. It could take the form of a return to the classic continuity, which, quite frankly, I think most people at this point want to see a return to the classic continuity, but because Genndy is being attached to it, I don't know if maybe he would want his own universe, his own world to start from scratch within the world of Ben 10. And if he does, he could start his own brand new continuity within the Ben 10 franchise. Obviously, we have two right now, being the reboot and the classic original continuities. Who says we can't get a third made by Genndy? But at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily unlikely to say that he would work on the next iteration in the classic continuity, because Genndy, obviously, pretty much everything he's created has been something from his mind, something that's brand new, that he doesn't really have to pay attention to anything that came prior to it because it's his own creation, with one exception. And the one exception to that rule, the one exception to that statement, is he worked on Star Wars Clone Wars, the 2D animated series, which obviously had to take into account all of the movies that came prior to it. It obviously takes place between episodes 2 and 3. It has to take into account what happens in episode 1, what happens in episode 2, and what will happen in episode 3. So Genndy's done that before as well. He has experience working with another world by another creator. So who's to say he can't do that, come into Ben 10 and decide to take on the 6th iteration, which ends up being a 5th series in the original continuity. Either way, I absolutely love this idea. I absolutely love the possibility of Genndy working on a new Ben 10, but the elephant in the room is how likely is it that something like this actually does happen? And in all honesty, I feel like despite the fact that this would be a fantastic idea for for all people involved. Genndy would be working on a premier franchise like Ben 10. Cartoon Network would be having a creator who has a lot of experience behind him, a lot of acclaim attached to him, working on their premier franchise. I just feel like at the same time, Genndy's going to want to do his own thing. Genndy's going to want to work on something new that's come from his mind and something that a new world that he can create from scratch. I don't think he'd want to work on Ben 10, and quite frankly, I feel like Cartoon Network will end up getting someone else to work on the next iteration of Ben 10, despite the fact that I think a marriage between Genndy and Ben 10 would be a match made in heaven, because I think that his acclaim, his experience, everything he's done has been a hit. Nothing he's done has been a failure. As much as Cartoon Network wants to convince us that Symbiotic Titan was a failure, it wasn't. It was a fantastic series in its own right. I think Genndy coming to the world of Ben 10 would be something that honestly would bring Ben 10 back on the map. It would bring Ben 10 back on people's radars, because a lot of people have forgotten about Ben 10, quite frankly. A lot of people fell off of the series during Alien Force or Ultimate Alien, or even during Omniverse, and then the reboot happening didn't exactly help the brand of Ben 10 amongst older audiences, and I feel like instantly if you attach Genndy's name to it, that's just going to bring it into the view of so many more people, because a lot of people pay attention to what Genndy does. I know people personally that they don't watch animation all that much, but whenever they hear Genndy Tartakovsky attached to a project, they stop to take a look at that series, because they know how good Genndy is and how well each of his shows and each of his movies that he's done in the past have been. So I feel like if you attach his name to any project within the world of Ben 10, not only is that going to get Ben 10 fans excited, but it's going to get Genndy Tartakovsky fans excited, and then you're going to get more eyes on this new series as opposed to just, I don't know, a random new person coming in to work on Ben 10. And plus, you know that Genndy would treat the franchise with love, and he would treat it with the respect it deserves, and he would make a product that the fans would enjoy, because Genndy, like I said, he hasn't made something that's been a failure yet, so why not give him Ben 10? Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. What do you guys think about Genndy Tartakovsky possibly working on the next Ben 10? Do you think this is likely, or do you agree with me that despite this being a really cool idea, it's probably something that we're not going to see happen? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.